and Blagoveshchensk of Russia are twin cities that span across the Heilongjiang River. Between the two cities, there are many cultural activities going on, and now we are going to witness the opening of the 13th China-Russia Cultural Festival. And the opening ceremony is going to take place at 7:30 tonight. And the festival will last from June 15th to August 30th. The cultural performances and activities will take place among the two cities. And there are five thematic parts, including 30 cultural activities for this festival. Now, behind me, you can see the dragon and the phoenix and the lanterns of very much of Chinese particular characteristics. So during this 13th Cultural Festival, we will have a grand cultural performance. And what else do we have to see throughout this cultural festival? During this period of time, what kind of activities are eye-catching? So today I'm very honored to be joined by Mr. Jiang, Deputy Director of the local Tourism Service Center. Hi, dear online viewers, welcome to Heihe and join us in this cultural gala. So, Mr. Zhang, I just told the audience about the 13th China-Russia Cultural Festival. So I heard there is an additional cultural activity in this festival, that is the Lantern Show. So would you like to give us more information about the Lantern Show? Well, the name of the show is China-Russia People-to-People Lantern Show. We have provided 180 plus small lanterns to compose and to present you with this grand show. And you can see in front of us on the right hand is the image of the dragon, Chinese dragon. On the left side is a phoenix. So there is also a line of Chinese characters saying China's promising land for the people. So this show is to demonstrate our people's sound aspirations for a better life, and also to demonstrate the cultural traditions to be shared by both Chinese and Russian people. So how high is this image? Well, it is 10 meters high and 20 meters long. So how is it made? And have you applied any ethical traditional techniques? Well, we have specially invited the technicians, traditional technicians from the Sichuan province, which inherits the cultural heritage. And they have used the special painting stuff on the surface to present on the surface of the dragon and the phoenix. So when the night falls, you will see how shining it is and how attractive it is. Since it is still afternoon, there are not many people around, but in the evening there is going to be a lot of audience. Well, we have shot a small video clip of people visiting this Lantern Show. So I'd like to present you this video clip and share that with the audience. Actually, throughout these days, I have been visiting this place nearby. So when did we finish the exhibition, the decoration of the whole Lantern Show? Well, we put in place the first lantern on the 10th of June this year. We are very keen to make the last painting of the eye of the phoenix and the dragon to symbolize the closure of the whole painting. Well, our city welcomes the friends from outside the city, and there is a big square for our people to dance the square dance. And people can play basketball here, and they can enjoy themselves here. So this whole place, whole plaza is not only a very attractive destination for the tourists, but also for our people. You can see a lot of attractions here and a lot of things to do here. So I'd like to highly recommend this place. I recommend the evening show for our tourists and the people. So please do not hesitate to come at the evening time to enjoy the Latin show. Well, just now from the video clip, we can see a lot of audience and people walking around in front of the Latin, and they made photos of themselves, and they stay and they stopped in front of the Latins. So how about the Latins? Do they take different shapes or do they take the same shape? Well, our Latin show presents a whole collection of different varieties, but the first one you see must be the Latin and Phoenix. And then we begin with different types, with other images. We also have, for example, we have Russian-themed Latins. And you can hear for Russian musicians playing their own folk music. So the tourists and the artists will have this very enjoyable musical atmosphere here. In the evening time, there are such a big crowd of people. You can express that in Mountain People Sea. So you can see how attractive and how popular this place is during the evening time. You can see another Latin in the image of a pine. The pine tree is very popular in Russia due to its cold weather. And you can also see the Russian-style houses. And you can hear the Russian musicians playing their music. And there are four figure children in front of us in the Latin show. So this is typically Russian-style Latin. I heard you said there are 21 Latins that represent both the styles of China and Russia. So apart from the architecture, the figures, what else do we present? You know, Heihe lies between the two famous mountains of Heilongjiang Province. Of the Great Canyon and the smaller Can mountain. So we have designed mountain-themed Latins. We also have Latins in the shape of a panda. And you know, Russians are fans of the brown bears, similar to the panda to the Chinese people. And their bears are very vivid. The Latins can even move their own heads. So what are they playing? Is it a traditional musical song of Russia? So apart from the songs, the people, despite the great songs, there are not many people during this time of the day. But I heard that during the evening it will be so crowded because this place will be so popular among the people and the tourists. And now with the COVID-19 pandemic over, there are people swarming into this area. And you can also see the musical instrument not only from Russia but also from China, including the traditional musical instruments like a唢呐. So you can see this cultural alignment and integration of the musical instruments between China and Russia. So what a cultural feast for both China and Russia and for the peoples of the two countries. I think this is the only case in China. You said that they played their own musical instruments of their own countries. And they are playing Katyusha, a very famous episode of the Russian people. And you can see the very typical Russian musical instrument is taking a triangular form. That is very typical Russian style. And this is a very noble cultural presence, and they treat this only with their favored and honored guests. So can you give us more information about this year's China-Russia Cultural Festival? Well, we have designed 30 cultural performances. Well, we have not only cultural performances, but also intergovernmental talks and also the e-commerce activities. You will see the cultural performances, musical performances, and art demonstrations. You know, this is taking place in China, and the same is taking place in the twin city in Russia. And there will be a tea stage show in Russia. And there will be young and beautiful ladies taking flowers and interact with the audience and walking on the bridge of Heilongjiang Province. So this is to demonstrate a sense of sharing and friendship among the people of our countries, because the interactions between countries lies in the hearts of our people. So the people-to-people bonds are very important to connect the peoples of the two countries. Well, our broadcaster team just arrived yesterday, and we are very lucky to take some footage. And I noticed there is an oil painting show. Now I'd like to share with you another video clip of the painting show that we've shot yesterday. So what kind of paintings are on the show? Oil paintings have taken a long history in Heihe city, and the Russians are also very good at painting the oil paintings. And they have many great artists of oil paintings. So we have presented a grand feast for the eyes for our people. The oil painting show has been a very important part of the cultural festival this year. Now we can see beside us there is an ecological themed Latin show. So why do we put the pandas and the bear at the same time in one single Latin? Because the Russians are very keen in protecting the ecology, and some even raise and keep the bears at home. And Russia has a very vast land of territory. So people even dance with the bears. So panda represent China and the bears represent Russia. That's why we put them together in this Latin show. So we have altogether 30 cultural items during this year's festival. There must be there is a lot of things to look forward to. We have a lot of cultural celebrations. For example, there are cultural performances and also demonstrations of non-heritage intangible cultural heritage. Well, I heard there are something more interesting about tonight's shows, and so can you share with us and give us some information about what's going to take place tonight? Well, if you hear carefully, you can hear the songs passing from across the Heilongjiang River, and that is going to be a very important cultural show tonight. And that song has been shown since 2013. You can watch the show but I hope you to see it with yourself during tonight's show. If with a telescope, you can watch very closely what are taking place across the river. So through the 13 editions of China-Russia cultural festivals, the festival has expanded from merely cultural exchanges to a whole basket of activities, including culture and e-commerce and intergovernmental talks. So what is the narrowest distance between China and Russia, the two cities, the two twin cities? Well, the narrowest part is 600 meters. Only 600 meters. Now it's summertime. I can show you how it looks in wintertime. It will be frozen on the surface of the river. And the people from China and Russia can even play hockey game on the surface of the river. There is another show that is for the Chinese swimmers to swim through the river and reach Russia and vice versa. So these two activities are very important sports games between China and Russia. So apart from these, what else? For example, artistic activities are taking place between China and Russia. Sure, there are many of those artistic activities, including but not limited to the oil painting shows. A lot of oil painters from Russia came to China for producing their own art pieces. And some are taking photos here, and some come to China for making sketches. And some Russian friends also came to China for spending their later age, because we have a very famous mountainous area resort, which is very good for killing your time. So can we say that the Heihe city is an eccentric demonstration of the friendship between China and Russia? Yes, Heihe city is very special because the architecture here takes a Gothic style, and the buildings are not very tall. But we have very local specialties. We have the Russian food here. But when the Russians come, they don't like the Russian food. They want to taste the Chinese food, like the hot pot. So that means the sharing of the two cultures. Apart from the culture, the sports, architecture, we also have, as we mentioned, the sport games. So from an introduction, I can see a lot of exchanges are taking place between China and Russia in so many fields. Well, the entrepreneurs and the vendors and businessmen here in Heihe City can speak Russian fluently. And if you can speak one or two sentences of Russian, then they can respond very fluently also in Russian. So, Heihe City boasts a time-honored tradition and advantages in hosting the China-Russia Cultural Festival. Yes, the government set a stage and the people intervene and make the performances. Well, thank you, Director Zhang, for your wonderful introduction. And from our images and footages, you must have gained some understanding about the Latin show, about the artistic performance on the street. But due to time pressure and the weather, this part of the show has to stop for some time. But stay tuned for our show. Tonight, we will see you again during the evening show, during the opening of the 13th China-Russia Cultural Festival. Thank you so much for today's show. Thank you for watching.